Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to Deliver It. This is a Product Owners Podcast. My name is Cory Bryan, and her name is Cameron Dracaitis.
Hello.
What's happening?
What's up?
Back from vacation you are.
I am back.
The newly
physically.
rested, freshly rested.
Yes. So for those that don't know, I went to Peru for a week and a half. Peru, and I ate churros, and I drank something called pisco sours, which were amazing.
Pisco sours.
Pisco sours. I held sloths.
Sloths, yes.
That was my favorite. You know, I never feel maternal ever, but then I held a little sloth, and he had his arms around my neck, and then his little legs around my waist, and he rested his head on my chest, and I'm like, oh, I want a sloth baby. I just want a sloth baby.
Did you get a stuffed sloth to take home?
I did not.
No. It's a missed opportunity.
But I did buy a nice sweater that was made out of alpaca, as well as a throw made out of alpaca.
Alpaca.
Baby alpaca.
Baby alpaca.
100%, according to the label.
All right.
So anyway, it's good to be back.
Yes, get back in the swing of things
Getting back
today.
into the groove.
Yeah.
Went back to the work today for the first time, and that was, I think I'm still on a vacation brain.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm similar because since the last show, I have been sick.
You're always sick.
Sick? No, not always. But for the last 2 weeks, I have been sick.
Sick.
And I was zombie sick. I mean, I felt like I think last Wednesday I was up for a total of 6 hours during the day. So I was the Walking Dead.
Wow.
Literally. So I was not in it and trying to get back in the swing of things.
Are you
today.
Are you a grumpy sick or just completely out of it?
When I'm sick, I want to sleep so I can time warp to the future where I feel good. That's my general. But I'm a grumpy sick.
You are a grumpy.
I'm a grumpy healthy person. So when I'm sick,
you have a point.
I'm worse.
You're grumpiest. Well, I'm glad that you're feeling better. I can tell you're feeling better.
Thank you.
Because you're smiling and talking and moving around.
Yes.
And not grumpy. Well, not as grumpy as you could be.
Grumpier than usual.
Right.
Yes. That's correct. Well, and I finished a book.
Well, I mean, what else are you going to do when you're sick?
Well, not much, but I like reading books, and I haven't read a book in a while, and I picked one up because it was recommended. It's Peter Thiel's 0 to 1. Peter Thiel's a guy who started, or one of the people who started PayPal, and is an angel investor and a very successful entrepreneur. And his book 0 to 1 is about notes on startups and how to innovate, how to build the next thing. And I really wanted to like the book because I was really looking for some inspiration and some ideas and some guidance. And I kind of don't like the book.
Why?
Well, there's some things in there that are good. So he has a list of 7 things that every market creating business must answer. And I'll talk about a little bit of those. Those are good. He talks about characteristics of a startup person. And those were kind of boring. I didn't like those. He talks about a lot about things that just don't interest me. Things around startups, around financing and stuff. And I was just I wanted to look at products things. Like his things of what is 0 to N or 0 to 1. So he talks a lot about incremental investments or incremental improvements. So things like email and a better email service, that's an incremental improvement. But things like, Slack or something like things that are completely new products or new ways to do something is that 0 to N. So it's a completely new type of product. That's the type of thing he's looking at. And I like that part of it. He also gets the lean startup methodology. He gets that. He doesn't like that at all. So he kind of trashes that. MVP. He doesn't like MVPs. So he kind of trashes that. And I've got an article that talks about why he's wrong about lean startup, the guy's opinion. And I like that article. But it's, it's a kind of a half and half. I kind of got some good things out of it, and some of it I was like,
That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to love every single book. They're not all going to get thumbs up.
No, I mean, the questions that he had, though, I really like. So the engineering question, do you have a breakthrough technology? Monopoly, do you have something no one else has? How many different, he talks a lot about the solar companies and the solar panel companies. How many different solar panel companies cropped up around mid 2000s and how many of them are still around? It's just, they weren't unique enough. They all had the same product. Do you have the right people? People question. Durability question. Will you still be around in 10 years? Is this a business that's going to last, or is this something that, is catching on a hot trend or something like that? The secret question I really like. Do you know something that nobody else does?
Oh.
Yeah.
I like the secret question.
Yeah, I do too. It's what's unique about your thing, or what is going to blow people's mind about your thing that nobody else has. Mm-hmm. I really like that.
That is good.
So, like I said, there's some good information in there, but overall, it's okay.
All right.
But I do have some other lists that I kind of came across that were really good. Both a good list and a bad list for product owners.
Are you a good list or are you a bad list?
Well, I'm probably on both. But the good list, I think, is shorter.
So I read through the good list because I'm a positive person. So I'd rather look at positive, happy things than negative, ugly things. And I like the good list, and I'm going to go through it with you.
Okay.
Okay. So what makes a good product owner? Right. That was the list.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be technical. So it's important to be able to grasp the context of a technical discussion, which is very helpful during grooming.
Right.
How many times have they talked technical and I just zoned out?
Yeah.
So I've learned how to be technical because I don't want to be the only one that doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, you're not going to code, but you need to understand the conversation.
Or what the problem is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Be willing to change.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe your ideas really ultimately aren't the best, but being easygoing and allowing, your attitude to change will foster feelings of collaboration around the team. So it shouldn't be your way or the highway.
Right.
Be prepared. And that's so true, right? So planning grooming sessions run a lot better when you come prepared.
Yep.
And then also it gives the team confidence that you know what you're doing. Be passionate. So again, you can't expect your team to be passionate if you're not passionate.
Right.
You can prioritize. So a good PO makes sure that the most important things happen first, and they don't just prioritize easy stories. Cherry picking stories.
Yeah.
Even though that would be the easiest thing to do.
It would be, yeah.
Good POs are empowered, and we've talked about this quite a bit. So if you can't make decisions immediately and have to consult stakeholders of the board, then things will move slower, if at all.
Yeah, if it's not your decision, if it's somebody else's decision.
Mm-hmm. Think simple first. So we want to, obviously we want to have the best thing ever at the very end, but we need to start slow and start with something simple.
Right.
The PO needs to be available. I think that kind of goes without saying.
I mean, it sounds like it shouldn't be a thing that we say, but there's several people that just aren't either willing or able to be available and engaged.
Or maybe they're just so swamped
Yeah.
that they are being pulled in so many different directions and can't be available.
Yeah.
But that's important because questions do arise throughout the sprint, and the PO needs to be there to answer the questions.
Absolutely.
Duh.
Yeah.
That's going to be my duh moment.
Yeah.
What else? So communication. Obviously, I think communication should be number one with any good list.
I don't think this is a priority list. I think it's just 10 things.
I think communication still should have been put at the top.
Yes.
And then last thing is to celebrate success, which is, of course, my favorite topic.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of a sprint or the end of a release, bring the team donuts. Take them out for a drink.
Team donuts.
Team donuts.
Make sure you have a plain glaze for me, though.
Of course. Are you allergic to everything else?
No, I just don't want anything else. But yes, you need to celebrate. So yeah, that's good.
I know a PO who gives an award to her team member who did the best that sprint. Mm-hmm. So she's got this little paper award with a unicorn and rainbow, and I have no idea, but whoever her rock star team member was for that sprint gets the reward at the end of the sprint. I think that's kind of cute.
All right. So that was 10 attributes that make a great product owner. And then we have product owner anti-patterns. So negative side, 20 things.
Ooh.
No single product owner for a team. So if your team has more than one product owner, that's bad.
Yes.
Yeah, one product
that would be
owner
weird.
Makes the decisions.
Especially if they don't agree.
Yes. That's the point, right? It's mom versus dad. Well, he said I could do that. Mm-hmm. Interference with the daily work. So if you're a product owner and you're constantly interrupting the daily work, or if you can't be a product owner because you're interrupted by other things. So it's part of that dedication thing. Stories are built around product layers, so you don't have a vertical story.
Oh, that makes me crazy.
Yeah, the slice of cake, right? You
Slice
need to
of
have
cake. You don't
a
want
vertical.
just the top layer.
Here's our database. Well, you can't do anything with
Nobody wants the frosting without the cake.
No. Well, my daughter would. No projection of the product backlog, so you don't have a burn down. You don't know where you are, either in the burn down chart or the burn up stories. I think would apply there. The backlog is filled with a bunch of strings or not proper user stories. Sometimes that's okay. It depends on how far down the backlog those things are. Is it something that you're going to develop over the next couple of weeks, or is it something that's at the top and being pulled in the next sprint?
Strings being as a sentence.
Partial stories, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Product owner is underpowered and does not act as a guard of the backlog.
That goes completely against mine, which is that they're empowered.
Yeah, exactly. So
he's just doing antonyms at this point.
Well, it's two different people too, so that's okay. Product owner that uses estimates to set deadline demos for clients. That he's just scheduling things.
Oh.
For like a salesperson or something like that. Oh. Yeah, don't do that. The product owner is too busy for the team. He has too many teams and he's overworked.
I know a few product owners like that.
Yes. We talked about this as kind of ratios for product owners and teams. You know, personally, I feel like if you've got two teams, but they're on the same product or same area, then you're probably okay because of the different things. But if it's one product and it's a bigger team, or you've got a lot of things to do, or it's a new team, it depends on the maturity of the teams and the product owners too. It really depends. But yeah, you don't want to have 5 teams for a product owner or something like that.
And you also don't want to do other jobs besides just being a product owner.
Right.
So you can have 2 teams, but then what if you're doing some technical writing and you're doing some training and whatever else? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The product owner is too busy for the team. He spends a lot of time in meetings with clients. That's too much meetings with clients, right? There's going to be some meetings with clients. So that has to happen. That's where I talked about a third of the stuff a third of your day as a product owner, at least my day, is dedicated toward the client side, talking to them, getting feedback, trying to work on their things. A third of the day is for the team. What does the team need? Grooming sessions, stand-ups, talk about stories, accepting work. And then the third of the day is your work. You're writing stories, you're doing things. So if you split it like that, then that's probably okay. At least that's what I do. The product owner proxy, again, that person is not empowered. It's just, and that's why I told you to stop using that word, proxy words, because you were empowered for that team. Now, you had to ask questions of me, and that was fine, but you made those decisions. You were empowered to do that, and proxies aren't. They're just there to feed back things to somebody else. The product owner community, one person, again, this is not 7 people cannot be your product owner. You can't have a committee do this.
PO committee.
A PO committee, yeah. That's your stakeholders.
Right.
But don't let your stakeholders start making product owner type decisions because they'll never agree. The product owner scarcifies the equality of the product in order to ship the product faster. Be careful what you ship. Ship quality. Don't ship feces.
That other word.
Yes.
We just talked about that.
We did.
In the last discussion when we were talking about MVP.
That's right.
Yep.
Confusing the product owner role with a scrum master role.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, have you? That does tend to happen.
That happens more often than not.
I'm sure it does. And Bob had an interesting article he wrote today where he was talking about some horror stories that he's hearing at conferences about people doing agile or testing or something else. And there was a couple people that were confusing roles or just saying, well, our scrum masters don't do that. They do this. And he's like, well, you're not doing it. Just stop.
Yes.
So a lot of that. The product owner who expects a stretched commitment because based on their experience, it shouldn't take that long.
Oh.
I had a guy tell me, was it recently? I think it was recently. A guy tell me that was a former developer and has moved up through the ranks that, he said, yeah, I don't understand why it takes that long because when I was a developer, I could knock it out just like that. Oh, well, okay. Maybe you should either do it or maybe you should be up to date on what it takes to do things today. So yeah, I never get into that position. I always ask, why does it take that long? Because maybe there's something that I can say, oh, don't worry about that part. Negotiate, right? So it's not just one of these, I tell you how long it takes. That's bad.
That's very bad.
Being the product owner because they're a department lead or manager. Because I'm the manager, I get to be the product owner.
You're inevitably the product owner.
Yeah, no. One is not synonymous with the other. Just because you're the product owner does not mean you're the manager of the group. You could be, that's bad. But just because you're the team lead, you're not the product owner for that team. That's bad. The product owner who feels it's not their role to maintain the backlog or delegates all of the actual user story writing to the team or the Scrum Master.
No. That's part of your job.
That's right. Don't just...
We had this discussion today, actually, at the office because we had a product owner meeting. Remember I told you I work with 17 product owners. Mm-hmm. And apparently some of their QAs actually write the acceptance test for them. And some of the other product owners write their own acceptance tests. So we had a nice, long, lengthy discussion, and it came down to, well, the QAs like to write the acceptance test. And I'm like, I don't know if they want. And even if they do like to write the acceptance test, how do they know?
Yeah, they can help write
They can
acceptance
help.
tests.
You can start it for them. They can fill in the blanks.
Well, so let's be careful. They can write acceptance tests. They can't write acceptance criteria. Yeah. So the criteria is how do you know when you're done? From a business perspective, from a product perspective, from a story perspective, how do you know when you're done?
And how can the tester answer that question when they're not working directly with the client?
Yeah, they don't have all the context. Yeah. Again, they can help. They can write tests. Sure, write some tests. We'll help you do that. But yeah, no, don't. Don't shirk your responsibilities on stories.
I call that a lazy PO.
That's true. I think that's lazy. Yeah. The product owner who refuses to choose between the top 5, again, prioritization. Here's 5 things. Which one's most important?
You missed one. There's one before that. Mm-hmm.
The product owner who thinks a Scrum Master is just a project manager whose role is to pester people into doing their job.
The naggy Scrum Master. It's done yet? Are you done yet?
Yeah, why aren't they done yet? Can you tell them to hurry up? No, don't do that. Work with them. Both Scrum Masters and the teams, yeah. So top 5, we talked about that one. The product owner who insists on architecting, golly, what words am I saying? The product owner who insists on architecting the solution design.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I've never insisted on that.
No, that's because we're not coming at this from a technical side.
But even if I was an architect, let's say in a previous life, I probably wouldn't solution it. Or maybe I would. Maybe I'd be like, I know everything.
I see people who do. Yeah. And they come from a development background and they're like, oh, I know how to do that. You just do it like this. And that's what they tell the team.
And they do the hand wave. It will take you nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a half a day's worth of work.
Yeah, don't do that. The product owner who does not regard himself as a team member.
You know, I think sometimes you can blame the team for that.
Yeah, they let them get away with it. Yeah,
Case in point, you're at stand up, they're all talking to the product owner.
Yeah.
And I remember you pinging me on that once, and you said, don't look at them. Look away, look down, look across them, look up. And I started doing that. And then I noticed that they stopped looking at me.
Yep.
And then they started talking to each other.
Yeah.
So the team can be ultimately responsible for that.
Yeah, they can contribute to it, but it's up to you as a product owner to recognize that
you don't
shouldn't
report to
happen.
me.
Yeah. And yeah, but you are a part of the team. So when you're talking about teams, you're talking about retrospectives and who's involved in getting stuff done. You're part of that. Absolutely. So there's 2 lists that I think are good. They're kind of good checklists.
I agree with both those lists.
Yeah. So our topic today.
Are you ready?
Kinda.
Define ready.
All right. So it's the definition of ready is what we're going to talk about. This is something I think that it can be formal. I've never had it be part of the formal process.
Let's back it up for a second.
Okay.
What's getting ready?
So definition of ready. So there's a great article by Serge Beaumont.
Serge.
I like saying that name. That basically says there's 2 stable states in Scrum. There's done, or done, as we've said, and there's ready, or as he terms it, ready, which means you can start. So basically there's done, which means I'm finished, and ready, which means I can start. So the idea being that we as product owners want to get stuff done. To be done, we have to say it's ready to start, and the team can work on it.
When you use the word it, you're referring to the story.
The story, right.
I just wanted to make it very clear to our audience.
No, it's fine.
What we're defining as ready.
Yeah. So we want to define that this piece of work, this story that we're getting ready to give you, our team, is what you need to in order to work on it, deliver it, and actually get it done.
Deliver it.
In the sprint. I know. I didn't do that on purpose.
But I did.
But that's the goal, right? So here's the story. We've got prepped. We have confidence, a reasonable amount of confidence, and the team feels that way that we can get this done. So are you really ready to start working on this? Yes or no? It's kind of it's a yes or no question. Yes, you're ready, or no, you're not. So, and if you're not ready, then don't put it in the sprint.
But wouldn't you already determine that during planning?
Well, you should determine that before you get to planning.
Okay.
Yeah. No, right. Don't go into, I would never go into planning with a group of stories and say, here's the group of stories team. What do you think? Are you ready to do these?
Right.
No. And that's why I've never done it kind of formally. You can do it formally. We'll talk about some ways to do that. I've done it always in my head. Do I think the team has enough information, or have I done enough here to get ready, for the team? So,
but you're not exactly going to the team beforehand and saying, hey,
are you ready?
Are you ready? I'm thinking these 10 stories are ready. Do you agree that they're ready?
Yeah, no, I've never done that, but that's the process that you're actually doing though.
So it's a product owner brainstorming process. When you're going through your list in the backlog and you pull it into the sprint and you look through it and you say, okay, I've got the acceptance criteria. Yeah. I've got this. I've got that.
Yeah. And we talked about grooming. We talked about planning. We talked about all these things. That's to get ready.
To get ready.
To get ready.
Okay.
Right. So, like I said, and I've never used that ready term. I've used done a lot because it just makes sense.
Are you going to start using ready?
No.
I know there's a song that needs to come out of this, but I can't think of it right now.
Okay. So again, why is it needed? We want to make sure the team can deliver something at the end of the sprint. So we want them to be finished with something. We want them to be done. And to do that, they need to have confidence that they can start it and they can finish it. So that's why we do this.
Right. So some examples of how you know the story is ready. It's been determined that we know the value of the story and it's been prioritized appropriately. Mm-hmm. There are no open questions from the team that we know of at the time. And the story has been sized or estimated.
Yeah, to the sprint so that we know we can get this piece of work done in that sprint.
Right. And I would add on to that too, that we've got the acceptance criteria defined.
Sure.
That there are mock-ups in there if need be.
Yep.
That kind of a thing.
Yep. So you have done, and the team agrees that we're prepared to take on this work. We may not know everything, but we know enough to get started and have a reasonable expectation of finishing.
You've done your due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So this is mainly determined by the product owner and the team. Although we can have sponsors or stakeholders say, hey, this is ready for you.
Yeah. There may be, the reason we talk about the sponsors and the customers is because maybe you work in an environment where you need that type of approvals or sign-offs or something like that. Ideally, it would be down to the product owner and customer. The sponsor says they need this, or the customer says they want this. I, as the product owner, have worked with you, team, to create the story. We've gone over it. We're ready to start working on it, or I think we're ready to start working on it. What do you guys think?
It's because we're empowered.
That's right. And that's where we get the fist of 5, and that's where we kind of come out with, there are 4s or there are 5s or so. It's good.
Yes.
Or they've said that they don't need any more research spikes, something like that.
Speaking of fist of 5, I've included those in our daily stand-ups.
Yes.
It's been fantastic.
It is a very simple thing. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that at another point.
Oh, okay. So when I've done this kind of semi-formally, I've done it in the terms of a planning board. So I've taken a Kanban board type approach where I give some columns, and gone into, so we need some analysis, we need some wireframes, we need some reviews, we need some data, we need some things to progress to the point where the story is ready for the team. We could groom it, but we can't work on it because we don't have data yet, or we don't have a wireframe yet, or whatever else. But you make a board and make it visible so that everybody can see that. So when your customer or your boss says, why aren't you working on story XYZ? You can say, story XYZ is sitting there waiting for data. And when we get that data, then we can start working on it. Because then it's visible. Again, one of my big things is make everything visible. And that is a way to make ready visible.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I've done that on multiple projects. I really like that approach. And it's pretty simple to do too. You don't have to have full stories at that point. You're just developing the point to get to the stories. Although you could have stories up there. I've had it both ways. You can show what's getting ready for grooming. You can have grooming as an actual column on that board to say this story's been groomed and now it's ready. A lot of that is more when you're in more process driven, more waterfall type things to get into the team. If you have to have it, then that's a good way to do it. And then sprint planning. Yeah. Again, is this ready to be in the sprint? No, because it's not made its way all the way across. And sometimes, you don't have to go through each of those columns, whatever you have. Sometimes you can say, look, this is pretty simple. We know what it is. Move it to ready.
And maybe you don't even do it at the story level. It could be done at the epic level as well.
Yeah, it could. I mean, at that point, I would want to make sure I've broken it down into stories so that it's ready for the team.
This could be your tasks.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to show what ready means. And that is just like the boards are very powerful, the task boards the team's working on, showing what's ready. Again, we can't work on this thing until it's ready. And ready means we need all these things. So make it visible. And that gets everybody to help you, is the idea, so that it's informed, so that people can say, well, we really need that data so we can get working on this. Absolutely. Help us get that data.
I think it's a great idea because then you can also visually display things that are blocking you from moving forward, such as the data. You can put a little block sticker on there and a little sticky next to it that says dependent on XYZ data.
Yeah. And if you go for the full combine route and you have whip limits for stuff, then, okay, we can't work on this until, can you work on this story as well? No, because we've already got 3 things waiting for data. We can't pull in a 4th thing if that's your whip limit.
Yeah, I like it. So we talked a lot about getting a story ready for the sprints, but there's other things you'd want to get stories ready for, like ready for the backlog.
Yeah. Can I put this on my backlog now?
Exactly. I mean, because for you, what do you say, 200 items on your backlog? Mm-hmm. So you would definitely want a backlog ready, whereas I just throw everything on there. Another thing is the story ready?
Yeah. Do I have everything I need for the story for grooming or for whatever else?
Exactly. So there's a couple other things that you would want to track for ready.
Yeah. And do you have a checklist for your stories?
I do, but it's in my head.
Yeah. So it's a mental thing to say this is ready now.
Yes. And what I start doing is tagging my stories RFG, ready for grooming.
Okay.
And that way I know, because in Jira, they're ready for grooming.
Right.
It works for me.
Okay.
Although the first time my team saw it, they're like, what is RFG? What does this mean? I don't understand. Like, it's not for you. Don't worry about it.
It's not for you.
It's not for you. It's for me.
Part of my process. It's okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And then ready for the sprint.
Well, we already talked about that.
Did we?
We've been talking about ready for the sprint. Damn it. Are you still foggy from the medicines?
I'm a little foggy. Yes. I'm a little foggy. So there's a great quote that Serge has in his article. It says, don't let anything that's not ready into your sprint and let nothing escape that's not done.
That's a good quote.
I like that. So again, ready, done, done. Good.
And life is good.
Life is good. Yeah. I've had several arguments with clients going, we can't do this yet. It's not ready. The day before a sprint starts. So we have a meeting and they go, okay, what are you going to work on next sprint? And I've shown them and they go, where's product X or feature X? And I go, it's not ready yet. And they scramble and it's the most important thing on their mind. And I've tried to work with them, but it's not ready. And lo and behold, it suddenly gets ready pretty quick because they found all the information I need. I've looked at it and said, yes, okay, I agree. I've had some people try to bully me. You have to do this now.
They bullied you?
Yeah.
No.
Or they tried to. They said, well, you have to work on this now because it's the most important thing. It may be the most important thing, but it's not ready. So I can't work on it. I could work on it, but I couldn't get it done. And at that point, why would I try it?
Right.
Again, I want to get things done in a sprint. I want to show work. And if it's not ready to start, then I have 0 chance pretty much of getting it done.
Right. You're being set up to fail.
Exactly. Don't buy into that. Don't allow yourself as a product owner to be set up to fail because you will take the blame.
Single ringable neck.
Yeah, man. It happens.
The joys of product ownership.
Joys of product ownership. That's right.
So what else is going on with Serge?
Well, I mean, he's got a great article, and I'll link it in the show notes. You can see it. And then Roman Pitchler has a great article as well about definition of ready. So we'll link those 2 in there. And if you've got any questions about how to get ready or how to make things ready for your team, let us know.
Yeah, we would love some questions.
Yay.
So we really would like to get some feedback from our listeners, or any questions that you have in the PO space, problems you're facing, if you want to share some good ideas, or any other issues with the show itself.
Yep. And you can find us online at deliveritcast.com. On Twitter, we are at deliveritcast, and you can email us at deliveritcast@gmail.com.
So we do have a question.
Yay!
Greg would like to know if we have any plans to cover becoming a product owner. He says that both of us came from positions close to product owners, and is a certification worth it?
Okay, so I'm going to take the last part first.
Okay.
Is a certification worth it? No.
I'm going to answer it depends.
Okay.
And I'll say it depends because if you are certified, your resume will rise up to the top of the list.
Okay.
For people that want certified product owners.
Okay. So, and that's where I say if you're looking at a company and that company says we want certified product owners, then I would question what they're really looking for. Do they know what they want? Because what they want is experienced product owners, not certified. Because you can go take a 2-day class and get certified.
You sure can.
And not know a damn thing. Mm-hmm. So are they worth it? No, I don't think so. I have it.
If your company pays for it.
Yeah, go ahead and get it. I have a certified product ownership
Sure.
from Scrum Alliance. You have a certified Scrum Master
I do.
from Scrum Alliance. So
That's right.
We have certifications. I have not seen my reputation or my income or my job prospects change because of it. It's a nice to have. It gives you some basic information, but I think you can get that basic information from other places. But if you can get it, it does no harm to get it.
To your point, when I attended the Scrum Master certification class, there was a lady in there who was brand new to Agile and Scrum, and her company sent her there expecting her to become completely knowledgeable and to come back and just implement everything. Yeah. And the poor lady left 2 days later, didn't know a thing more than she knew when she walked in the door, other than she was now certified.
Yep.
Now, at least I've been in the space for long enough where I can do the job. I've been doing the job as a Scrum Master. So it wasn't foreign concepts to me, and they made sense, and I got it. But this poor woman didn't know a thing more when she left the class.
Yeah. No, so is it worth it?
But she's certified.
She's certified. She could get a job. If somebody said, I just want to hire certified Scrum Masters.
She can get a job.
She could get a job versus somebody who's done it for 5 years and doesn't have a certification,
right,
but's really good at it. They wouldn't give them the time of day. That's why I say if the company requires you to have it, then I would be willing to bet that they're looking at the wrong qualifications, and you would probably not want to work there because they would probably focus on the wrong things.
Good point.
Yeah. As far as the other things, yes, we could cover it. It's definitely something I'll put on our show backlog as far as becoming a product owner. But just to address it kind of high level stuff or just some thoughts around it. How do you become a product owner? The best advice that I could give you is to find some way to get on an Agile team. Any way to get on an Agile team, whether it's a developer, a Scrum Master, a business analyst, a developer, a tester. Find some way to get involved with a team that is doing it right, and find some way to contribute, and then start finding a way to help out the product owner. I started as a QA manager and then came to a Scrum Master and then to product owner. So I've seen other people come at it. I mean, you came at it from the analyst side.
Correct.
And we're writing requirement documents and then writing stories and then writing stories for teams and serving as the product owner. And now you've served as Scrum Master too. Other people come at from the technical side. But I think there is no, again, it's not, I'm not going to go to a product owner certification and say, you know everything about being a product owner. I think the best way is to get in there and learn and watch good product owners do this, watch bad product owners do this, see where they're failing, see where you can help them, see where you can start writing stories. Start writing stories. If you're on a team, start writing stories, start finding ways to contribute, and then start learning and look for opportunities to help the product owners. And that's the best way I can think of to get started as a product owner, is to actually do it.
I think that's really good advice.
Are you surprised?
Do I have to answer that? What I was going to say is if you are already in a business analyst position or a functional analyst, any sort of analyst type position, it's relatively easy to move into a product owner position. Was for me.
Okay.
Because stories equate to requirements. I still had team, that I worked with in Waterfall, which equates to my team in Agile. So there's a lot of similarities. And, you still need to have the core skills of communication and listening and, developing rapport and having client conversations. All that's the same. So I would say that if you're already an analyst, it'll probably be a little bit easier to move into a product ownership role.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I come back to also is the 4 quadrants of product ownership that Bob's talked about. And I really like, because as a product owner, you're doing 4 generic different things: product manager, project manager, leadership, business analyst, right? If you're in one of those 4 roles now, if you're a project manager and you want to become a product owner, you've got a good step because you understand that side of the business or side of the role. If you're a product manager, you've got a good step because you understand those sides of the roles. Business analyst, like you mentioned. Mm-hmm. I came at this from a different angle. Some people will come at it from a technology side. Some people have been development leads or development managers, and they come into the role. The part of the thing that I want to caution people that are outside of those 4 roles that are coming into this is be very careful about your mentality, because it needs to change. Your mentality is not just on the technology side or not just on the quality side. You have to learn the other aspects of the role. You have to be willing to say, I'm now going to learn about product management, or I'm now going to learn about project management. I still hate Gantt charts. I can't stand Gantt charts. I know that I have to deal with some of them, and I know I have to deal with scheduling and everything else, but I don't do it in a traditional project manager sense. I do some of those same things. I just do it in a different way. So whatever angle you're coming at this from, make sure you're open and willing to look at those other things and say, I can't look at this, especially development managers, right? If you're a development manager and you're coming in to be a product owner, stop focusing on the technology. Don't get into being a product owner because you want to decide the technology. That's the wrong thing to do. Come at this because you want to help create great products and you want to solve problems for your users. Don't just come in and go, I want to build the latest Angular app. Woo! No.
Also, good point. I would also suggest to find the person that will take a chance on you.
Yeah.
All of my career switches were always due to someone that said, okay, let's give it a try. And they brought me in. So when I switched from a quality analyst to a business analyst, I had somebody took a chance on me. When I went from a business analyst to a product owner, Cory, you took a chance on me.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to have somebody just go, all right, let's give you a try.
And that's, be open to the opportunity. So if you want to get into this, that's why I say get on a team and look for an opportunity to help. Look for any way to contribute as a product owner, part of that role. Find something that you can help do and show you that you're willing to do it and show that you're valuable in doing it. And then you'll get to do more of it. And when you can get to do more of it, then you'll learn, you'll gain experience, and you'll get an opportunity when it comes along.
And one last thing, get out there and network.
Yes.
Go to conferences, go meet people in the Agile space. There's a whole lot of people that will be there to support you and will guide you and help answer questions. And then you can meet people. So I think networking is key.
Right.
As uncomfortable as it is.
Yes.
Because it's way uncomfortable. Let's just be real.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
Okay. So we'll definitely put it on our list, but there's some kind of some rough thoughts, some highlights of kind of where we'll go with that. But
I think that was a good question.
That's a great question.
Thank you, Greg. Ask us more questions.
Please.
We like questions.
Yes, we do. We like sharing our opinions.
We do. we have a few opinions to share.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So do you think that we got through definition of ready?
I think so. I think we were ready.
We were ready.
We were ready to talk about being ready, and we're done talking about being ready.
Are we done? Have you thought about what the next episode's going to be?
No. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I'm going to have to look through our backlog.
Okay.
Can we talk about retrospectives?
No, we
don't.
We
already talked about those.
Yes.
Oh, well. Okay.
We have plenty of other topics to talk about.
We should look into getting somebody in the studio to chat with us.
Yes.
I think it's time for a guest.
Okay.
If anybody is interested in guest appearing, let us know.
Guest appearing?
Yes.
Appearing as a guest.
That'd be awesome.
Yes.
Meet new people.
Right.
Network.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
To get out of here?
Yes.
what that means.
I love this music.
So these words are our own. They do not reflect or not endorsed or representative of any company or organization. So there.
So there.
So there. You can find me online at iscoreybryan on Twitter, or I infrequently blog at don'tyellatme.wordpress.com.
And as always, I can be reached through the show contact info.
Yes, and we just delivered episode 8. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
2 weeks. Bye.
See ya.